Well, good morning, Pi. I hope you had a lovely evening. Today, I wanted to show you how to do a Scandinavian coffee egg recipe.
Scandinavian coffee egg recipe.
That we've discussed, or what we used to call church basement coffee. So I've got everything you need here. I just want to give you a quick rundown of it, and let's me show you everything you need, and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so here we have everything we'll need to make Scandinavian egg coffee. The recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup of coarse ground coffee. Now I have store-bought grounded Boyer's coffee, Aspen Gold. I really like this stuff. It's pretty good, but you might get slightly better results if you do your own bean grinding and have it a little more coarse than this freshly ground coffee. But we'll also need 1 egg, which I have here, a third of a cup of just cold water to mix with the egg slosh that we'll make, and then I've got 9 cups of water in here. Obviously you can freelance this however you want, and I've kind of just eyeballed it. I've gotten used to noticing that these little rivets here is about 9 cups, and then I have a larger pan and some strainers for later, a Dolly Parton mason jar to save the leftovers, and a cup for myself when we're ready. So what I'm going to do is get this water boiling first, and then I'm going to make the slush, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's make some coffee sludge. I usually just use this silicone spatula. It's a core spatula. Highly recommend that. If you find any of them, buy them. I start with the coffee first. Just dump it in a little bowl, and the egg. And we're gonna beat the shell in here. I just kind of crumble up a few pieces. But part of this process is the grounds and the water are going to be completely separated from the boiling, and that's mostly because of the egg. But I usually just kind of mix this up a little bit by itself with the egg and coffee. Give it a little stir, kind of mix that egg up. Try not to make a huge mess like I do. And once you kind of have the egg mixed a little bit, we'll add a little bit of water to get the coffee going. And again, we're just kind of looking for a coarse sludge type. And let's add a 1/4 cup of water. And mix that in real good. You could use a whisk or a fork, but it tends to just kind of get stuck in there, so I just kind of like folding it with a spatula. Pretend like I'm baking a cake. But basically, this is about what you're going to be wanting to see before putting in the boiling water. Alright, now let's actually make the coffee. Okay, so the water's boiling, so I'm going to just take our sludge mix here and just dump it in there. Be careful, obviously, because it's got water boiling. I've reduced the heat just a little bit because I do set it on the highest heat to get it boiling. I'm just going to scoop all of that in there. Try to get as much as possible. Don't really have to stir it, but I like to kind of dunk the spatula and get all that extra grounds off of there. And I like to leave it for 10 minutes. You get a little more stronger coffee the longer it goes, but it'll be ready in about 5 to 6 minutes. But I'm going to do 10 minutes, and I'll show you what to do when that's done, and we'll wrap it up. Alright, so our 10 minutes are up. Shut the burner off, remove it from heat. The one ingredient I failed to mention earlier is ice. Usually when it's done, I will drop 4 ice cubes in it. And what this does is it will separate the grounds with the eggshells and the yolk, all of the egg, and that'll bring it all to the bottom. So when these have melted, usually you can go ahead and scoop out a cup of coffee, but I will usually do a strainer just to get rid of as many grounds as possible. But let this sit for about a minute. If you don't have ice, you can use a cup of cold water to do the same thing. And then we'll filter it, and we'll see if we can have and enjoy ourselves a cup of coffee. Alright, so I have a mesh screen strainer here and a bigger pot. Obviously, you probably don't need a bigger pot, but I like to just take care of it to filter it out. It's been a minute since the ice is set, so we're going to go ahead and strain our coffee grounds. And as you can see while I'm doing this, most of it is at the bottom, but I will just go ahead and dump all of that in there. And what I like to do, this is an extra step that isn't necessary, but if you are a stickler and really hate drinking coffee while choking down some grounds, you can do another filter. I have a tiny little, I guess, cup or mug size mesh strainer as well. And as I make a cup, I just hold that in there and just get a measuring cup in here. Just do the same thing quickly for a cup. Complete extra step, but it is another thing that will grab a few extra floating grounds. But that can be probably avoided if you have a more coarse ground coffee. So, and then with that, this I will be putting in a mason jar and putting it in the fridge. Should last for about 4 to 5 days. And that is how you make Scandinavian egg coffee. I like it black, but obviously you can add cream, milk, sugar, whatever you want to it. It's delicious. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.